Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the claims from Dr. Stephen Greer's book, Disclosure, An Illustrated History. Now, this book suggests that the official story we've all been told about the last 75 years, well, it's not the whole story. Not by a long shot.
Right from the get-go, the book hits you with this startling claim. It suggests a kind of shadow history has been playing out right under our noses. And the core idea isn't just, hey, we've been visited. No, the idea here is that these visits have often ended pretty dramatically, with these advanced vehicles being downed and then whisked away in secret.
And really, that's the big question the whole book wants you to ask. So let's do it. Let's follow the trail the book lays out using its own evidence and illustrations and see exactly where this hidden narrative kicks off. Okay, so where do we even begin with a story like this? Well, according to the book, you don't start by looking up at the sky. You start by looking at the ground, at the wreckage. These alleged crash retrievals, they're the bedrock of this whole argument. The book makes a big point that these weren't just random, isolated accidents. Nope, it presents them as a consistent pattern, a pattern of what it calls ETVs, or extraterrestrial vehicles, being brought down. And while the book goes into a ton of cases, this timeline here shows you some of the big ones, the ones everyone points to. Of course, you can't talk about this stuff without talking about Roswell. It gets a huge focus in the book, but it's reframed entirely. Forget the simple weather balloon story. We're talking about a massive, sprawling event that happened over multiple sites. Think a huge debris field, a totally separate crash site with this egg-shaped craft. And here's the really controversial part, the recovery of the beings inside. But you know what the book really zooms in on? The stuff they found. It pulls together all this witness testimony describing debris that just shouldn't exist. We're talking metal with memory, foil you couldn't burn or even dent with a sledgehammer, and these little I-beams covered in symbols, hieroglyphics that were totally alien. And this is where we get to the why. Why were they there? The book argues it was anything but random. Think about the location, Roswell. At that time, it was home to the only atomic bomb squadron on the entire planet. The book presents this as Exhibit A, that these visitors were there to check out our brand new and very dangerous nuclear toys. Okay, so the book lays this foundation. ETVs crashed, technology was recovered. But right when you think you know where this is going, the story takes a huge plot twist. It introduces a wrinkle that, well, it changes everything you thought you knew about flying saucers. So are all these UFOs extraterrestrial? The book's answer is a hard no. And this is where things get really interesting, because it argues that our skies are actually full of a mix of different craft, and a lot of them, they're not from out there at all. And this brings us to a key term from the book, the Alien Reproduction Vehicle, or ARV. The claim is pretty mind-blowing. It says that by reverse engineering the tech from those crashed ETVs, secret black projects figured out anti-gravity way back in the 1950s. And ever since, we've been building and flying our own secret fleet. So you see the problem, right? How in the world do you tell their ships from our ships? The book says you have to listen to the insiders. They describe the real ETVs as, well, perfect. Totally seamless, no weld marks, almost like they were grown instead of built. But our versions, the AAVs, they apparently look a little homemade. You can see the rivets, the panels, the nuts and bolts of it all. Okay, at this point, you're probably asking, where's the proof for any of this? And that's fair. The entire case the book makes, it rests on whistleblower testimony. These are first-hand accounts from people who claim they were there, on the inside of these super-secret programs. And the book really hammers home the credentials of these people. I mean, we're not just talking about random folks. We're talking 3-star Air Force generals, astronauts, top Pentagon officials, engineers from places like Wright-Patterson. The message is clear. These are people who would have been in a position to know what was really going on. Let's look at a case the book highlights. JAL Flight 1628, back in '86 over Alaska. You've got a veteran 747 crew, and they report this insane encounter. They're being followed by multiple craft, and then they see this mothership that they said was twice the size of an aircraft carrier. And this wasn't just a visual sighting, no way. It was tracked on civilian and military radar. So what happens after an event like that? Well, according to a senior FAA investigator quoted in the book, it gets shut down fast. The claim is the CIA just swooped in, grabbed all the radar tapes, all the reports, and basically told everyone this never happened. Forget you saw anything. So you see how all these pieces are fitting together? You've got the crash retrievals, the secret reverse engineered tech, all this insider testimony, and it's all building towards one thing. One final massive point. A call for total transparency. In a word, disclosure. And really, the entire weight of this argument, it comes down to the numbers. The author claims to have personally debriefed more than 700 of these military, government, and corporate whistleblowers. 700 people from all these different agencies, supposedly telling the same basic story. So why does this matter? The book argues this isn't just about satisfying our curiosity about aliens. It's framed as a matter of global security and law. The core idea is that this extreme secrecy has allowed illegal, unconstitutional programs to run wild, with zero oversight. And even worse, that these secret operations are actually a danger to the public. So, when you put it all together, what you have is this incredibly detailed alternate history. It's a puzzle pieced together from alleged crashes, secret human-made crafts, and the testimony of hundreds of insiders. The book lays out its case, and in the end, it leaves you with one massive, thought-provoking question. If any of this is true, what on earth happens when the secret finally gets out?